Okay, we're going to start off with the New Orleans Saints and the Denver Broncos. The Saints are at home. They're given 2.5 points. So I had the Broncos winning by 7 here. Now, this could be a little much, with Spencer Rattler being, a new quarterback to the NFL scene. There's not a lot of film out there on him in an NFL offense. There's not too much out there to study, to go off and be like, hey, Spencer Rattler can't do this too well. Hey, if we do this, we should be able to limit Spencer Rattler. No, there is not much film out on Spencer Rattler and how he performs in the NFL, his tendencies. There's not too much out there on him currently. So even though that Broncos defense is very talented, really darn good defense, one of the best in the league, you're still going to have, could have a difficult time against a young quarterback that is very, very talented, and he won't go away. He won't give up on the game. Just like last game, it could have been they could have easily given up when the game was 17-0. They could have given up right there and then after the first quarter, but no, they didn't give up. And, Spencer Rattler fought back, big time throws. Spencer Rattler, both with a passing and rushing touchdown, he looked great. He looked great, man, but I don't think that the Saints are going to be able to overcome their stupid mistakes. Every single week, they have these sloppy mistakes, whether it's penalties, whether it's this or that, or so many stupid things, and I think that's what holds them back. Their defense has been inconsistent. Their defense has actually been all right the first couple weeks, but it's becoming more inconsistent. Teams are finding holes. They're knowing where to go with the football, knowing where the weak links are, and Bo Nix and this Broncos offense is going to do the same. Now, the Broncos, they played much cleaner football, really good defense, solid offense. The offense does what it needs to when it needs to in the biggest moments. And the Saints, they're kind of the opposite. They slip up. They play sloppy football. So that's why I'm taking the Broncos. I think that this Broncos defense is going to be able to make that extra play. I think that this, if there's a team here that's going to capitalize off of the other team's mistakes, it's most likely to be the Broncos, even though it's in New Orleans as well. So Broncos have to travel a little bit. Regardless, I think the Broncos win. They continue, bad loss versus the Chargers last week, but I still think this can be considered a trap game. Favored by 2.5 points. People are probably expecting the Broncos to come back and win this football game. Saints have been embarrassed the last couple of weeks, really have not been able to play defense. I mean, the Bucs just put 51 on you. Baker Mayfield and the Bucs offense basically did whatever you want. I mean, they fought their way back into that game, but there's no consistency. There is no consistency. They're very sloppy. Is that a coaching issue? Yes, it is. When you have a team that isn't disciplined, they're slipping up on the little things. You have leads. Games like the Falcons game, you should have won that game. The Falcons should have never been in position to kick that game-winning field goal. But the Saints, man, I'm just the first 2 weeks they were the most dominant team in football. Since then they've been quite the opposite. They've been a bottom 10 team in the NFL. And the Broncos, that Broncos defense shouldn't have too much of an issue. Like I said, the only, kind of downfall for this Broncos defense is that there isn't too much film out on Spencer Rattler. So maybe that's how the Saints have a big time day. Maybe that's how this offense has a big day. Not a lot of film out on them, and they're going to take advantage of that and, throw all over the Broncos defense. You never know. There are games that you think are going to be low-scoring games. Yeah, I don't have this low-scoring game, but could very well be a low-scoring game. You have games that could be really low-scoring games, end up being shootouts. You think the game that's going to be a shootout ends up in a low-scoring game. You never really know. Defenses and position groups, they have their bad days. But, I think the Broncos are the better team. They match up a little better. And I think it's going to be a good game. I think it's going to be a closer game than what people may think, considering how bad the Saints have looked. And, the Broncos have struggled a little bit the last couple weeks as well, but the Broncos are fine. I think they're a fine football team. Defense will do more than enough, and the offense will step up when it needs to. So give me the Broncos 26-19 over the New Orleans Saints. Browns and Bengals. The Bengals are going to get their second win in a row. Even though last week was, you did play the Giants. This week playing the Browns. You've been very fortunate. The beginning of the season was tough. You played a lot of difficult teams, and this Bengals team is not great. Joe Burrow, when they play the better teams, Joe Burrow is going to practically have to play perfect football if they want a chance to win. But the Browns are nowhere near one of the better teams in the NFL. The Bengals shouldn't have too much of an issue. They should be able to keep the scoring low for the Browns. They should be able to pressure Deshaun Watson all day long. That Browns offensive line not very good. I did hear that Nick Chubb is coming back this week. So can Nick Chubb come back and spoil the Bengals, getting a 2-game win streak, starting to get back into it? The Bengals heat up after the first couple of weeks, but this Bengals team simply isn't one of the better. I mean, with Joe Burrow, as long as Joe Burrow is playing for them, they're going to be a very good football team. They're not great because the rest of the team is tough, even though, I've seen a couple of good things last week. It felt like, the Giants have a really good defensive line. They have one of the best defense line in the NFL. But Burrow and all those weapons, they're going to get the ball out quick, and they're going to do that to the Browns too. I mean, the Browns, they could get a little bit of pass rush. Myles Garrett, of course. But it's not going to be enough. Joe Burrow can get that ball out quick. I don't even, the Bengals don't even really have to run the football too much. They shouldn't have to. I mean, they will. Well, obviously, they're going to try to. And they should be, maybe they will get it going. Maybe they won't. Regardless, you have Joe Burrow, Chase, Yoshivas, however the heck you say his name, T. Higgins. They have too many weapons to not score, way more than the Browns. They really shouldn't have too much of an issue. If you blitz all day long, the Browns offensive line is very bad against blitzes. They're very bad against stunts. There's no communication. A lot of guys coming in open. This Browns offense just is not going to have enough. They're not going to be able to keep up with the Bengals. So, yeah. Even with Nick Chubb, maybe if you want to run the football, try to get that run game going. Maybe that offense line will look a little better. You get the run game going a little bit. And maybe you don't let the Bengals get a rhythm going. Maybe you keep Joe Burrow on the bench. Try to keep him cool. Even, Joey Cool. Joe Burrow. You know what I'm saying? Joey Ice. Nah, it doesn't work. But regardless, give me the Bengals 29-16 and to cover the spread. Browns are given 6. Bengals favored by 6. Bengals should cover. They should absolutely cover pretty easily, in my opinion, in this one. It's a divisional game, though. So that's something to keep in mind. But give me Bengals 29-16. Patriots, Jaguars. This is going to be a crappy game. It's in London. So if the Jaguars lose the second game in a row in London, it is going to be a disaster. And I had them losing their second game in London. Even though the Patriots have to come all the way from New England, and they have long flight ahead of them, a lot of travel time. The Jaguars have been there for about a week and a half now. They've been there for a little while. It's going to be 2 weeks pretty soon. Yeah. But this Trevor Lawrence, I mean, you can't trust him. You do have a couple of really nice weapons. They've been stepping up a couple times last couple weeks. But, I mean, I thought last week was pretty bad for the Jaguars. You usually play your best football in London. You really got dominated by the Bears. It felt like the Jaguars were in it at points, very slightly. But I don't know why the Jaguars are favored by 5.5. I think that was way too big of a spread. I would not touch this game with a 10-foot pole. That spread is way too big. Considering how sloppy the Jaguars are, this defense is looking like one of the worst in football, and it shouldn't be. It's much better on paper. The offense is better on paper. Just can't get nothing going. Coaching is really bad. I expect Doug Peterson, especially if they lose this game, I expect Doug Peterson to be fired. Even before they get back to Jacksonville, it'll be on the flight, and even before he leaves, I know Doug Peterson knows that his time in Jacksonville is coming to an end. Trevor Lawrence just paid him a crap ton of money, and I don't think he's not the future. His time in Jacksonville, he's going to be stuck in there because they're paying him so much, but he's too inconsistent, falling apart, not looking too good. So, but I do think, considering you let the Bears do what they did to you last week, Drake May looked pretty good last week. Patriots offense isn't great, but I can see the Patriots getting that run game going. Patriots going to get that run game going. Drake May going to piggyback after that run game. And I said the Patriots do just enough to get past the Jaguars. And the Jaguars lose their second game in a row in London, where they usually play their best football, and they lose to 2 bad football teams. Now, the Bears, the Bears have really good defense, one of the better defenses in the NFL. Their offense has been showed up the last couple weeks, but the Bears, they didn't play very good football teams. I mean, they played the Jaguars, and they played, they just haven't played great football teams. Now, the Bears, will really see who the Bears are down the stretch with the most difficult remaining strength of the schedule. We'll see. But yeah, I don't know. It's a toss up, really. I could see this game going either way. Does Trevor Lawrence have one of his crazy games? It's just like, wow, there's a Trevor Lawrence that we thought we would see, or is he gonna have one of those games where he just plays like crap? It feels like those really high end games from Trevor Lawrence are very, very, very far in between. So, give me New England, go to Jacksonville, and just ruin their time over there. It could be difficult. Like I said, they do have a lot of traveling to do. In terms of that traveling, that can mess you up the time zones, all that wonky stuff. But give me Patriots. Give me Patriots to take this one, and yeah. Bills and Titans. The Bills should be able to get back on track in this one. Really nice win. I mean, saying back on track when they just won. We're at home, favored by 8. I would absolutely throw money on the Bills in this one. I mean, they should be able to cover. They should 100% be able to cover this line. They should win by two or more touchdowns. Titans, tough week last week versus the Colts. I thought they had very questionable play calling. Why not run the football more? And you know what? That's something that you could take into account in this game. Maybe the Titans run the football because the Bills have not been great at stopping the run. Titans' offensive line is pretty good. Will Levis is horrible, and the passing game is horrible. So do the Bills just sell out to stop the run and force Will Levis to beat them? I could see that, and then them not getting any rhythm going. And Will Levis, as we know, we saw last week versus the Colts. I mean, couldn't do anything against one of the worst defenses in football. And now you're going up against the Bills. Bills' passing defense is wicked. They are strong. It's a very strong unit. And the Bills' offense, they by the end of this game, as this game goes on, the Titans' defense is getting tired. I do like the Titans' defense. I think the Titans' defense is, it is one of the best in the NFL. But they're going to be worn out. They're going to be tired out by how bad the offense plays. Offense is, isn't going to be able to capitalize and give them rest. So they're just going to get worn out, man. They're just going to get worn out and so tired that they can't stop anything. So give me Buffalo 34-10 over Tennessee. Josh Allen and, newly acquired Amari Cooper, which is an incredible trade for the Bills. So, yeah, give me Buffalo 34-10 with a good old-fashioned butt beating here. They shouldn't have too much of an issue. All right, the Colts and the Dolphins. This game is tough to predict. It seems like a lot of people are leaning Colts. I don't think so. This Colts defense is what worries me the most. Last week you played you played a Titans team that you probably should have lost to. You didn't. You won. It's a divisional game. Grind it out. Fine. You won. Take it away. They won. That's it. Bottom line. But you go back and you watch that game. The Titans were running the ball all over the Colts. And Titans have a pretty good offensive line, really electric running backs. And the Dolphins, they're missing that offensive line, but they have the electric running backs. So Von Achane, Raheem Mostert, Jalen Wright, all these guys scare me in the backfield. All of them are very strong runners, very fast, and they're very difficult to bring down. Meanwhile, our tackling hasn't been great. We haven't been good with getting running backs down at contact. We're letting running backs run through contact, get 4 or 5 yards after contact. Tajay Spears, Tony Pollard did it to us all day yesterday. And then, even though Tyler Huntley is going to be the starter, right? Huntley is, his release is horrible. He takes so long to get the football out, and that hurts. But, he's no Tua. And the Dolphins' defense is not very good. But, and I could see them allowing a lot of rushing to the Colts. Anthony Richardson coming back. Jonathan Taylor, I heard, might be back. So, it could be a long day for this Dolphins runoff for this rush offense. Or the rush defense. But, the Dolphins could do the same thing. It's just, what skill position players are you taking? Are you taking Jonathan Taylor, Pittman, Pierce, Downs, A.D. Mitchell, Anthony Richardson, or are you taking the Dolphins? They have OBJ. They have, OBJ is, not prime OBJ. He's still OBJ. Tyreek, Waddle. All these guys need to do is, catch the football and make a couple guys miss. And our secondary is pretty bad. Our secondary has not been good. Like I said, our rushing defense has not been good. So are we going to try and sell it to stop the run and then struggled with Tyreek? I can very well see Tyreek having his game, having his long overdue really good game, even without Tua. Tyler Huntley is not a horrible quarterback. He has been pretty darn bad. But I don't think that the Dolphins, once the Dolphins find that run game is working, they're not going to abandon it like the Titans did. They're going to run, and then Colts are going to focus and stop the run so much over top to Tyreek or Waddle. I just think that the Dolphins offense, I trust them more. I trust Tyler Huntley to make that extra throw, to make that good throw, to make that extra better throw to one of their skill positions versus Anthony Richardson throwing to one of his skill position guys. So Colts were favored by 3.5. I think that's too much. I thought that was a lot. I was surprised to see the Colts were favored. I was surprised to see how many people were actually picking the Colts. But give me Miami 27-24. They're both. The Colts have gotten better weapons. The weapons have been good and they're not bad. But the Dolphins have probably had the best. One of the best wide receiver 1-2 combos. Waddle would be a number one on many NFL teams. So yeah, the Dolphins should win this football game. But their defense is really bad. Remember that their defense is really bad. And you're going up against Alec Pierce, AR, just launch the ball downfield themselves. They've been awesome. They've been great themselves. But yeah, give me Miami though. I trust Miami to make the extra play. Even though both defenses are really bad, both these teams are just really weird. Tough game to predict in my opinion. Give me Miami in Indianapolis. Falcons and Seahawks. So, the Falcons are a very good football team at home. The Falcons have put up really good games against good football teams. They've beaten good football teams. They got really close to the Chiefs. Really just incredible matchup versus the Buccaneers. And the Seahawks, they're a little beat up. I could see Kenneth Walker having a day against the Falcons. The Falcons defense has been it's okay. It's not great. I think the pass rush is a little bit of an issue for the Falcons. So I can see Geno Smith having a day throwing the football, throwing that ball, just slinging that ball all over the place. He's accurate. But at the end of the day, I just think that, that Falcons offense is a little better. And with the Seahawks being a little beat up, the Falcons should be fine. Like I said, the Falcons have been beating good teams. They've been playing really good games against good teams. The Seahawks, not so much themselves, but yeah, give me Falcons 31-24. I'm pretty confident in the Falcons winning. Favored by 2.5. Yeah, I take that line for the Falcons. I think the Falcons shouldn't have too much of an issue covering there. Although, it may seem like I'm underestimating the Seahawks and what they can do, what Geno Smith could do. This game could be a lot of offense, man. This game could be back and forth. It could be a 34-30, 38-35 type of game. This could be a really high-scoring game. Geno Smith and the offense have been really explosive at times. They've been awesome in that, in that department of things. And like I was saying earlier, the Falcons' pass rush is not great. So Geno Smith having, more time back there, Lockett, Metcalf have great weapons, and then you have a great back, great at running the football. I mean, this game, I could see the Seahawks winning this football game. I could see them maybe stealing a possession with their defense, but they're a little beat up, so, and the Falcons have proven that they can beat in those better football teams, and, the Seahawks have been beaten up, and they're still beaten up. They're still down a couple of guys, a couple of very important pieces. So give me Atlanta 31-24 over Seattle. Should be a really fun game to watch. And, Falcons are also much better at home. They've just been a much better football team at home. Giants and Eagles. Give me the Giants all day long. The Giants are given 3.5 points. I think the Eagles are favored by a little too much in this game. The Giants should have a nice day against the Eagles. I mean, you look at the defensive line. That Giants defense should have a day. That Giants defense is awesome. It's very good. And the defense line is no exception. That defense line is nasty. They're going to apply pressure all day long on Jalen Hurts. And Hurts, I can see him fumbling the ball. I can see him turning the ball over quite a few times in this game because of the Giants pass rush. Really, when Hurts is under pressure, he's not a very good quarterback. I thought Hurts did have a better week last week. He did play the Browns. The Browns don't really have a good defense. They sometimes they get pass rush, sometimes they get a little bit here and there, but not enough, especially when you have Myles Garrett. You will get some. But I mean, now you're playing a defensive line that is just incredible all around. Dexter Lawrence is going to be lining up in the middle. Dexter Lawrence is a monster. You have Kayvon Thibodeau. I mean, you have Brian Burns. It's going to be a long day for this Eagles offensive line. It's going to be a long day for Jalen Hurts. Yeah, the weapons are there, but if Jalen Hurts is going to, have Giants defensive linemen and defenders, Giants are going to blitz a lot, and the Eagles offensive line will struggle to limit that pass rush, and that's what I think is going to be the difference in this game. But I would also take into account that the Eagles defense has been, it looked better last week, but you did play the Browns as well. But then you look at the Giants offense, I mean, everyone has been able to put points up on the board against the Bengals. I mean, no one has really struggled to move the ball against the Bengals. No one has struggled to, play some solid offense versus the Bengals. But the Giants, they couldn't get anything going. So if this is one of those games where they just simply cannot get anything going, then it will be a long day. It will be a long day for the offense, and then they probably won't win. But I'm banking on the Giants getting just enough offense getting just enough offense going to get past the Eagles in their NFC East divisional game. Giants getting the first one over Philly 21-16. I think it'll be a close game. It could be a very sloppy football game. I like low-scoring games, but I don't like sloppy low-scoring games. I don't like low-scoring games between two mediocre teams that just make stupid mistake after stupid mistake. I like a good old-fashioned, pro-level chess match in football. Is what I would compare it to. Just really good football on both sides. That's when those 20-yard plays become so exciting. It's like, wow, that's like a 50-yard play. Like, you know what I mean? Nowadays, you get a 20-yard play. It's okay. Okay, nice. Nowadays you get, you have to get a 50-yard play to really be like, wow, there we go. That's fun, but it keeps attention a little stronger, but or the suspense much stronger. But yeah, the Giants. I kind of ran a stupid rant there, but yeah, I'm taking New York here. We'll see how the Eagles defense is. The Eagles defense line is the complete opposite of the Giants. They're struggling to get pressure. They've been struggling all season long to get pressure. It affects the rest of the defense. It makes it that much harder to play pass defense, but you're going up against Malik Neighbors. Malik Neighbors is going to have a day, big time day. So give me New York 21-16 over Philly. Get their first win over the Eagles here, which I think would actually be the Giants' first divisional win too, because they lost to the Commanders, they lost to the Cowboys. So I think that this will be the Giants' first division win as well. All right, Vikings and Lions. This is going to be a phenomenal game. And I can already hear the Vikings fans coming at me now, man. I've been doubting them this year so far, but, I picked them versus the Jets. Going to London, I'm like, okay, I have to take the Vikings here. They proved me wrong. But now this week, once again, you're playing another really damn good football team. I mean, the Lions, they're great. They're awesome. I mean, number 2 versus number 3 in my power rankings. That whole division, the NFC North, is just wild. But I think that the Lions are going to humble the Vikings a little bit here. The Lions are going to stop the run. Now, even though, Sam Darnold has looked awesome. He's looked incredible. He's played really good against some really good defenses. But the Lions are going to pound the football. They're going to run the football all day long. And there's nothing that the Vikings are going to be able to do against it. The Vikings like to do these disguises and, they fly around. But the Lions are going to do it just good old-fashioned smash mouth football. Straight up. These are the games that the Lions live for. The Lions live to spoil a 5-0 start so far. To hand the Vikings their first loss. They're hungry. They're hungry to get this win. They want to give the Vikings their first loss. Of any team, they want to do it the most. Divisional rival. These two are going to be near or at top of the division near the end of the year. So, big game. This could be one of the best games over the weekend. This is what I mean about a game that could be low scoring, but it's going to be a chess match between two great head coaches that have their own styles. It is going to be an incredible game, but give me Detroit in that incredible game. I just think they're going to be able to pound the football, keep Sam Darnold and that Vikings offense off the field. Let's say Sam Darnold makes a couple mistakes this game. He's been pretty damn good, and that's going to cost you against a team that just wants to drain that clock and get ahead and just drain that clock and not let you get many opportunities to redeem yourself. So give me Detroit with a lot of field goals and coming away with their divisional win over the Minnesota Vikings. Give me Detroit. They got it. And I'm pretty confident. But I do know that this is a coin flip. It could go either way. I'm confident in Detroit winning this football game. They're hot. Smoke the Cowboys. The Vikings, they're 5-0. They're hot too. So give me Detroit. Talking about good games. CJ Stroud and company at home hosting Jordan Love and the Packers. I just think that this Packers team is a better football team. They're getting better as the season goes on. The Texans, they're awesome too. Very good team, but they've struggled to put teams away. They did it versus the Patriots. Good job. Drake May still had a little bit of a day, but now you're going up against Jordan Love. Now you're going up against one of the most dominant football teams in the NFL. Elite coaching, going to put all the guys in the right positions to succeed. At this moment in time, give me Jordan Love over CJ Stroud. Give me, even the Texans, they have some wild weapons, dude. They have some wild weapons. Joe Mixon is back. That's a big one. We'll see if they can get the run game going because the Packers run defense. I think teams can run the Packers. Their running defense isn't as bad as it used to be. It's top 10 currently. It is. But I still think that you can find ways around the Packers. And Joe Mixon having all those weapons, CJ Stroud forcing the Packers to spread their defense out. I think Joe Mixon could have a big day. And I think that they can, keep Jordan Love on the sideline. But I don't think it's going to be enough. I say that the Texans don't get the run game going this game. I say that the Packers defensive line, and the Packers defense in general does a good job. Although, with how spread out the Texans, or opposing defenses that have to play the Texans spread out, maybe the Texans do get it going. But give me Green Bay, 30-27. It's going to be a good game. Very good game. It's a coin flip. It's another coin flip. It is a difficult week to predict the NFL. Week 7 is going to be a difficult week to predict. This game can go either way, and both teams can pull away and have a huge game. But it's in Lambeau. That's the difference. Texans don't have Nico Collins. That's right. The Texans don't have Nico Collins, so that can definitely be a difference. I mean, you still have Diggs and Tank Dell, Dalton Schultz. So I do think the Texans will be able to get the run game going as well. But I just don't think it's going to be enough. That Packers offense has been too good. It's been too strong. They've been if I can stop my stuttering, the Packers offense will outpace the Texans in this one. And the Texans are given 2.5. Regardless, give me Packers and give me that 3-point and give me that 3-point win for the Packers. Commanders and Panthers. So Panthers are sneaky in this one. I think that this is a trap game. The Commanders have been really strong. They've been putting a lot of butt whoopings on people. Tough game versus the Ravens. Tough loss. I want to see how they're going to rebound after that loss now. Very, very tough team they went up against, and they kept it close. Jaden Daniels was so good against the Ravens. He has been so good. And, that should not change this week. Daniels and that Commanders offense should continue to dominate, as the Panthers defense is not very good. Not very good in any realm. Not good at stopping the run. Not good at stopping the pass. So, give me Washington, 28-17. Now, the Commanders can get some the Panthers can get some offense going in this one as well. The Panthers have been sneaky. That offense has been pretty good. They have been able to move that ball. Under Andy Dalton, this offense has been much better. Leggett is nice. They've been running the football better. Almost everything has been better since Andy Dalton took over for Bryce Young. But now the Commanders being favored by 7.5. Give me the Commanders. Give me the Commanders in that line. They shouldn't have too much of an issue covering. As long as they play the way they have been, their defense continues to get better. Their defense has played pretty good most of the season, gotten better as the season has went on. And yeah, give me Washington. Give me Washington, man. I think that they should have a good day against the Panthers. Offense, very explosive. Panthers won't be able to keep up with that offense. Rams and Raiders. Okay. This is another one. It's difficult to predict, I think. The Rams are beat up, but the quarterback is the difference. The quarterback and the weapons are the difference. The Rams, they're gonna pound the ball. They're gonna pound the football against the Raiders. Should have zero issues running the football. The Raiders, they're gonna try to run the football. The Rams actually have the worst run defense in terms of yards allowed in the ground in the NFL. So it's something to monitor. But I don't think that's gonna be enough for the Raiders. You're not gonna be able to outpace Matthew Stafford and Kyren Williams with the run game. You're not going to. You could maybe limit them. You can maybe limit them in terms of how much time they get in the field. Don't let them get into a rhythm. But the Rams' offense is going to be too much for that Raiders' defense. The Raiders' defense not very good. Max Crosby can't do everything himself, man. He can't do everything. And the Raiders' offense, on top of that, it's a little lackluster. Can't really get the passing game going now. Especially you don't have Devontae yet. I mean they haven't had him for a couple weeks, but regardless, Raiders are gonna be the Raiders. I'm taking the better quarterback in this matchup, so give me Rams 28-20. That line's a little big. I do have the Rams covering, but that is a big line. But I am confident the Rams can win by a touchdown or more, just because of how good Matthew Stafford is. He's going to make it work, whoever he has at receiver. He's going to make whatever work. Really good head coach. Obviously, he's going to put everyone in the best positions possible to succeed. So I really think Kyren Williams is going to have a day too, though. And that's just going to make it even easier on Matthew Stafford. So give me the Rams over the Raiders in this one. Niners and Chiefs. Let me tell you right away the difference in this game. The skill positions. Both quarterbacks playing at a very high level. Two of some of the best quarterbacks in the league. Two very good offensive lines. Two really good defenses. Both teams so talented. Really good head coaches. This is another one. Now this is a pro-level chess match. This is going to be a fun game to watch. Super Bowl rematch, of course. And I think the Niners are going to do what the Chiefs did to them. I think that the Niners are going to make that last-minute play, come back in the end. The Niners are going to get their revenge in the regular season. Let me just ask you who you trust more. Mahomes at quarterback, yes. You're going to take Mahomes over Purdy. You're going to take Mahomes over anyone else in the league. Unless you're a Bills fan, you're probably going to take Josh Allen over Mahomes. But, the Niners are beat up. The Niners defense is pretty beat up. But the Chiefs offense is really beat up as well. But just give me the Saints, the Niners skill position group. They have a really good skill position group. And, they're mostly healthy. And I'm going to trust one of those guys to make that extra play over one of the Chiefs guys. What do they still have? Juju? And that, Xavier Worthy. You get creative with him, yeah. But still, who are you trusting? Xavier Worthy and Juju Smith-Schuster, or Ayuk, Samuel, Kittle? Will Mason be back? I don't know. Even if he is, will he be 100%? Not sure. But Niners favored by 1.5. I wouldn't bet on this game. It's going to be a very close game. Could be a one-score game right here, very easily. Or 1-point game. It's going to be too close of a game. I have no clue which way this game is going to go. But if I had to make a guess, I'm taking the Niners because they have their skill position groups. Their skill position players are just better. They're not going to let that blitz get to the Niners this year. The Niners are going to learn their lesson, have a better game plan this time around, and the Niners will be able to beat it. And in the biggest moment, they're one of the bigger stars or one of their bigger pass catchers. They're going to make that big play towards the end, and then it's going to be a game-winning field goal. That's my prediction. So give me the Niners over the Chiefs. But, Mahomes is Mahomes. He makes anything work. Andy Reid, very, very talented. Both head coaches, very talented. Now, one thing I will mention in this video. I did kind of just say that the Niners were going to make the comeback this time, but the Niners have been letting the foot out the gas in the fourth quarter. They've been letting teams get back into it. They've been letting games be way more interesting than they should be. So that's something to consider. Will the same thing happen to them in the Super Bowl last year? I don't think so. Give me the Niners. Give me Ayuk or Samuel over Worthy or Juju. Now, don't get me wrong. Chiefs have Travis Kelce as well. But Kelce hasn't been Kelce. You know what I mean? But give me the Niners. Niners should be fine. So, yeah. But it's a coin flip. It's a difficult game to predict. Speaking of difficult games to predict, almost every single game is really difficult this weekend. But I'm confident in the Jets pulling it out versus the Steelers. Do the Steelers really lose another Sunday night football game? That's hard to predict. That's hard to, believe that will happen. But the matchup isn't great for the Steelers. The Jets could run the football really well. You have Breece Hall, fine there. We have Devontae Adams. Aaron Rodgers may not be the Aaron Rodgers of old. He definitely has declined. The injury, just being out for a year. And the Steelers defense was really strong, for sure. But I think that defense is going to be worn out throughout the game. And just look at this Jets skill position group, though. Adams, Wilson, Lazard. It's a tough receiver room. And the Steelers have played really good defense, even against the Chargers a couple weeks ago. I think that the Chargers offense is a bit better than the Jets. Quite a bit better. And the Steelers did a phenomenal job. Now the Chargers offense was outplaying the Steelers for a little bit in that game. The Chargers were outplaying the Steelers in general. But, the Chargers had so many injuries that kind of affected how the rest of the game went. But, what kind of Aaron Rodgers are we going to get? Are we going to get a struggling Aaron Rodgers? How is Garrett Wilson going to look? He hasn't looked good. But I do think the Jets get the run game going in this one. They stopped the run themselves. They've been really good at stopping the run. Don't let Justin Fields beat you on the ground. But I also want to mention that the Jets offense did very good against the Bills defense, the Bills passing defense, in which the Bills have pretty much struggled. No. The Bills have been really good against the pass. And the Jets have been struggling to pass the football. And now you throw Devontae Adams into the mix, and they got a little bit of heat on Monday Night Football. They got a little momentum going. It wasn't enough. But I think it's going to be enough this weekend, this Sunday night versus the Steelers. So give me Jets 22-16 over Pittsburgh. Will be a good game. Will be a close game. Once again, it'll be a good chess match between two good football teams. But I just think Aaron Rodgers and that position group and those receivers are going to run the football a little better, and the defense will be able to do just enough. Pretty confident in the Jets winning this football game. As I'm saying, as I'm talking about some of these matchups more, I'm getting more confident in my picks. But another just incredible game this weekend. This is going to be such a good weekend of football. Yeah, so many good games. And the Bucs and the Ravens, this is no exception. I'm so excited for this game. What a way to start the doubleheader Monday Night Football of Monday night. I mean, Baker Mayfield, this offense, I think it's going to be too much for the Ravens to handle. I don't think this Ravens offense is going to be able to keep up. Now, the Bucs defense has been inconsistent. They've been on and off. But I think they're going to keep Lamar Jackson hemmed in that pocket, not let Lamar make too many plays, throwing the football, not let him go crazy running the football. Derrick Henry is tough. He's been playing freaking incredible. So you could maybe limit the Buccaneers offense. But you ask me, who am I taking to make that game-winning drive, to make the plays when it matters most? I'm taking Baker Mayfield to outdo Lamar Jackson in that category. I don't think this Bucs offense should really have too much of an issue. Once again, I mean, Baker Mayfield, clutch, great. He knows what he's looking at. He's accurate. He can get the ball to the right place at the right time. Bucky Irvin has looked good. The Bucs should run the football just fine, and that only helps Baker Mayfield in the passing game, even more. The Bucs just played a pretty good. I mean, the Saints were. Their defense was probably their strong point going into that game. Their defense has been all right. Looked atrocious versus Baker Mayfield and Godwin and Mike Evans, Bucky Irvin without Rachaad White. And the Ravens' defense has been on and off. It's been inconsistent. It's definitely not the Ravens' defense of old. They struggle at times, and they're going to continue struggling against this Bucs offense. Baker Mayfield's going to make that extra play to Mike Evans or Godwin. I trust this Buccaneers offense more than the Ravens' offense, and I trust their defense more. The Bucs, they're getting healthier on defense too. You just got to stay consistent. If you get a 17-point lead or you get quite a lead, you have to keep it. It's easier said than done, but you have to, continue to put the boot on the neck, or the nail in the coffin. You got to put the nail in the coffin. Don't let out the gas pedal, man. So I don't want to see the Bucs doing that again. The Bucs are favored by 3.5. I don't know if I'll take that. I don't know if I'll take the Bucs to cover. I mean, or the Ravens to cover. Either way, even though I have Bucs winning by quite a bit, by more than that, it's a good possibility that this could be a 1 to 3 point game in difference of the winner. So, but it's gonna be a good game. I just, I think the Bucs are just gonna force Lamar Jackson to beat them with their arm and force the Ravens to beat them passing the football. Much easier said than done. But yeah, give me the Bucs. Give me the Bucs. 34-28. It'll be a good game though. It'll be a damn good game. But give me Baker Mayfield. Cardinals and Chargers. What Cardinals team are we gonna get? Are we gonna get the Cardinals versus the Niners? Or are we gonna get the Cardinals that we got versus the Commanders? What defense are we gonna get? What offense are we gonna get? I don't know. Regardless, I'm taking the Chargers. Chargers offense, one of the better in the league, but I will say, it's struggled. It's had its fair share of struggles, but they're very talented. Herbert, one of the better quarterbacks in the league. It's just, it kind of depends on what Cardinals team shows up. If the Cardinals team that showed up versus the Niners shows up versus the Chargers, then they'll win. If it's not that team, they're not going to win. The Chargers, or the Cardinals defense has been interesting themselves. They've had good weeks, they've had bad weeks, but they've played the best offenses up to this point in the NFL so far. So maybe it's understandable why they're struggling. Nonetheless, that doesn't make it. That's not going to make it any better going up against Justin Herbert. You know what I mean? Still a really damn good quarterback. Will Marvin Harrison Jr. play? That's a big deciding factor as well. If he's not playing, then yeah, I'll be really confident with Chargers. He does play. All right, now I'm going to be questioning a little bit more. But the Chargers defense has been good themselves. Their run defense has been pretty darn good. So give me Chargers. I think the Chargers win on Monday Night Football. It all depends on what Cardinals team shows up. What offense are we going to get? What defense are we going to get? Are we going to get the defense we got versus the Niners or the Commanders? Are you going to look like the Cardinals in the first half versus the Bills or the second half versus the Bills? This is one of the most inconsistent and just one of those teams that is very difficult to figure out at the moment just because they're so inconsistent. But, who I do trust? I trust Justin Herbert. I trust that offense. I trust Harbaugh more. So, give me Chargers 30-23. I can see this game going either way. Like I said, it depends on what Cardinals team shows up, and that's really difficult to get a gauge on right now. But, so yeah. There are my weeks for weeks. There are my picks for week 7. Thank you for stopping by. Thank you for, listening to me talk about some football. If you enjoy, make sure to like, subscribe, put that post notification bell on so you don't miss any future videos. And this is the JDW Sports Talk Show, signing off.